Hi, it's me, Charlie from Girl in Blue Designs, and I want to teach you how to get this neutral yet dramatic old world finish. Let's get started. So first I'm going to add my texture medium to my first coat. It consists of baking soda, coarse kosher sea salt, and powdered plaster of Paris. And you can see that I added a little extra salt too. That was just for a little extra chunkiness. With my favorite stippling brush, I'm going to add that textured paint all over the front of this piece. And as you can see, I'm stippling. It's kind of like I'm just smacking it on. Don't worry, I'm going to speed things up for convenience soon, but I do want you to be able to see my motions and how I'm adding the paint. Okay, that's more like it. And as you can see, I'm still just using those tappy, stabby motions to get the paint on. I'm also dipping quite a bit. That's because for this particular project, I want the texture medium to be evenly dispersed. Almost done with the first coat of my textured paint. Here I'm just going around and scraping crevices from doors and whatnot to make sure that I don't paint my doors shut. After your first coat of your textured paint, you're going to want to let it dry for at least 8 hours. I actually just let it dry overnight. That was Saddle Up you just saw there, and now we got Ground Control. Let's mix them together. Okay, so now we're going to add our same texture medium to this paint. Check out the thickness and consistency of that paint. Okay, again, we'll just go slow for a minute so you can see how I'm applying the paint. Those same tappy, stabby motions. And we're just going to cover the entire front of the piece with this color. We're going to dip often because once again, we have that texture medium in there and we want it everywhere. You don't have to worry about absolute full coverage with this finish because not only are we going to be adding more paint, we're also going to be taking paint away. Ground Control again. We're just going to add it to the innermost part of the doors and drawers and then blend it into the other color. Easy peasy. Back to our beige color that we mixed up, and we're just going to stipple it on. Remember that you may not see every single time that I dip because I edit some stuff out, but I am dipping often because I want it to be thick. And again, we're just going to blend that Ground Control, the white, into the beige on the doors and the drawers. Back to stippling on our beige color. It looks like I was running out of my paint and starting to panic that I had to make more, but I made it work and covered the whole front. So now we're going to let this dry for at least 8 hours before scraping. It needs to be very, very dry when you scrape. This part is super satisfying. As you can see, chunks of my top color are coming off and exposing little bits of the bottom color. Right now, it's going to look like the piece has acne or something, but we're going to do a bunch of tricks together that pull it all together and make it look super cool. Everything beautiful has an ugly face. You'll see that I'm partial to adding it to corners and crevices and stuff like that, and then just blending it out. I'm keeping things slow and in real time for a minute so that you can really see the process before I start to speed things up. That's a big fat blending stippling brush. I'm using it to just move the black-ish paint around. And that's my favorite stippling brush for rough finishes. You'll see me use a paper towel or a rag often to just kind of move a little bit of the paint that I just added off because I don't want it too dark. Again, with adding my gray or blackish color to corners. Just moving that darker color around with my blending brush. Corners, corners, corners. As you can see, I'm using all the same steps all the way through. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. I really like that look of like the aged factor and it really dripping down from the drawers and stuff. We're going to really get into that later, but right now you can see I'm already doing it a little bit. Every layer counts. Here's what it looks like at this point. And some people could call this done. You could call it cottage core and probably sell it just as is. But it's not exactly my style, so I'm going to keep going. There's your Gotham. And Cara Cara. So Gotham is a super dominant black, black, black. I'm putting it on with a small brush because I don't want it to just take over the entire piece. I'm just vigorously getting it to move around with my stippling brush and some water. And now add a little burnt orange, which is called Cara Cara. Always with the corners. Mist and then go in and move it around with a stiff blending brush. Or a soft blending brush, whatever works for you. And now my point about how dominant Gotham is has been proven. It's really taken over, but I'm using that rag to pull some of it up. It looks like right now I'm in that point of the process where I'm still trying to figure out what works best, which is why you see me going back and forth between different brushes, but I'm going to figure it out. Sometimes it'd be like that. Again, putting my Cara Cara over that dark, and I'm going to move it around too. Okay, I think at this point I had realized that my big fat soft blending brush was really good for moving that black around. Wipe away. A little Cara Cara for the burnt dirty look. And we'll move that around with a blending brush too. And wipe away with that towel again. Here's the hardware that I chose. I made it look rusty. I did that by first spraying it with this and letting it dry. Then I used watered down school glue and kind of wiped it on with a little brush. And then I sprinkled cinnamon onto the glue. Let's darken up the base of this piece together. Then we'll get to that drippy part from the handles and whatnot. Okay, you can see that I'm starting from the interior of the base and kind of hitting edges and whatnot with the black. Then I'm going to use my big fat fluffy brush to just kind of spread it around. Don't worry, I'm not going to let it stay that dark. I'm just tapping away at it for a little bit of texture here and there. This is a very important step because I don't want it too dark, so I'm going to mist it. I believe I misted it, and then wipe away a little bit. So it's more like a black wash. Just a few little corrections here and there, some flaws that I can see but you can't. And we're done with the base. Now to get that aged look coming down from the handles. We're going to start with a line of black coming down from them. And here we are, y'all. We've got that chippy effect, some craters, some rust, and an overall grungy old world vibe, all in neutrals. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial, and I can't wait to see your project.